Oh, hi, this is Christina. This video is to give you the basic knowledge about how to install an EA and then how to use an EA within the MT4 platform. And this is also for the user who has already familiar with how to navigate within MT4 and who has already at least trading manually with MT4. So all of these functions about MT4 I assume you already know. Okay, so now if you are starting to automate your strategy, you get a programmer and the programmer code an EA for you. Then how are we going to start testing it and how are we going to start trading it? This is what you should do. Before you install the files, first you must close the MT4 you actually want to trade with. So let me just close it. And then first you copy the file you wanted to install and then go to your hard drive, find that specific MT4 you want to trade the EA with. It is very possible you have multiple MT4 on your hard drive. For example, I have one and here I have three. So, two from some other broker. You must install the file inside the specific folders of that MT4 you want to trade with. For example, it's Gold Diamond here, and then you click that one, then you see multiple folders inside. One of these subfolders is called Experts. Once you are inside here, you just simply directly copy your files in this folder. If your file is not a EA, if it's an indicator, then you need to copy the file inside the indicator folder. And now you just simply right click and do paste. It's gray in my case because I haven't copied anything. Regardless if it's an EA or indicator, each file could have two different formats. One has an extension of EX4, the other one have an extension of MQ4. If your programmer gives you either of those files, then it's enough to execute that piece of code, whether it's EA or indicator. From now on, I'm just going to refer it as EA. So if it's EA, if you have a file with extension of EX4 is fine. If you have a file with the extension of MQ4, it's fine. If you have both, it's fine as well. This is the source code, and this is the compiled version of that source code. It's basically an execution file. So once you do that, then now you can restart that MT4 you want to trade. Make sure it's the same MT4 you just copied your file with. And now if you look at this navigator window, and then under Expert Advisor, you should be able to find that particular EA you just copied into. If it's a custom indicator you just copied, you should be able to find it under here. They're marked with different symbols. And you can also see with EA, some marked with the colorful symbol, some is just gray. The green one means you only have EX4 file. When it's colorful, that means you have MQ4 file. But they should behave exactly the same when you're trading with it. So here's what we find for EA, and now we should start trading. Actually, now we should start trading. But before that, you should first make sure here the setting is correct. Under Tools, Options, Expert Advisors, first this must be checked. Enable Expert Advisor. If it's not checked, okay, now if I double click any EA, put it on chart, you can see this is the name of the EA, and then we have a sign like this. And here's the difference when this is checked. Once again, I want to double click. And then you got a smiley face. Only when you see this, then you know your EA is actually in execution. Oh, okay, sorry. See, this is my EA is doing something. You can see is put up some information on chart, it's also give me an alert. But so here is definitely needs to be checked. And what I have here is basically is the most safe configuration. Okay, you can just set it as this, and then let me just get rid of this for now. And when we wanted to use an EA to attach to one chart, you can do it in two different ways. One is to double click, okay? The other way is drag this directly onto the chart. And now first you will have a window like this, contains two tabs. One is common, one is inputs. Common means just some common settings. Once again, even when EA is coded to be able to trade long and short, you can still trade only long and run only short, and if you choose that in here. And also allow live trading must be checked for live trading. And I really don't suggest anybody who wants the EA to automatically trade to check this, because when this is checked, EA cannot open any trade without user manual confirmation, so this should not be checked. And then inputs is basically those each line is called each a variable. Here is a variable, and here's a variable value which you can change before each EA run. Okay, so these are called external variables, which you can change for each EA run. So anytime you run an EA, you could choose a different combination of all of these variable values. When you see this symbol in front of a variable, that shows it's an integer number you can only put here. For example, I can't put 5.2 here. It's either 5 or it's either 6. But versus this, it says 1/2 here. You can put something like 5.2, but you can also put something like 5. And then it could be something else and marked as AB. That means this is something you can type, like a name, whatever you like. It could also be, let's just find something else. So you could also be with this symbol. And this means the choice is either a true or false. These are the external variables. Okay, and once you set the right combination of the external variables you want, you could click OK, then EA will start operating. And because some EA could have a very long list of variables, and you probably have some of your favorite combinations value settings. If you want to save it, then you could simply just choose save, and then you could save a file like something .set file, and this will automatically be saved at expert preset. Okay, once you save that file, next time when you use the same EA, you can simply choose load and choose that file. Then all these settings will be at the same value as what you were saving last time. This is also good for you to give your settings to your programmer for a retest or something like that. So this is just basically, once you get to here, basically your EA is running already, and it should do what it's supposed to do at the correct times. Okay, and the one thing I do wanted to warn you is that in most cases, a EA should run continuously, or if you want a complete automation of the EA, it should run continuously for 5 days straight, and then 24 hours. That's why a lot of people, if they're trading EA seriously, you're putting it on the BPS. You should not disturb the EA and constantly restart the EA, because there's certain characteristics might change at the starting of the EA and the later stage. If you wanted to restart an EA, you must know the consequence of doing so. So I suggest that you don't do that unless you have to. And there's a few actions that will cause the EA to restart. and try to avoid that when you're using a EA. For example, change the chart time frame. You see, these are the alert. It always shows when the restarting of this EA. You see this alert again, that means the EA is being restarted. I simply change the chart time frame. It's the same as detach the EA and attach to another chart. Or I could just right click and change some parameters here. And then click OK. Even if I don't change this parameter, but if I open it up and close and hit OK, see, I see this. That means EA has restarted again. Okay. Another thing is obviously if you remove this from the chart and then reattach again, the EA is definitely restarted. Or you completely close this chart and restart again, obviously it is. Or you could have this EA on chart and then close the MT4 completely and then restart the MT4 again. If that EA is left on chart, it will start immediately. This is a very bad habit when using EA. Before you exit MT4, you should either close all charts or at least remove all EAs on chart before you exit. Because next time when you start the EA, when you start MT4, most likely you do not want those EA to automatically start. So these are the basic knowledge about how to use the EA. One more thing I want to mention is about this terminal window. There are these two tabs. It's called Expert and Journal, especially Expert. And this will basically document everything your expert is doing. Sometimes if you encounter problem, either broker execution or anything, if you have error messages, and here will be shown, and then here will be a red symbol instead of yellow. So from some information is given here, it could be useful for debugging. So occasionally I will probably ask you guys to look into this and to see if anything can be detected.